Hello, and welcome to Iraklion Magazine. I'm Deborah Howe.
And I'm Lupe Lopez. If you want to build a house, you need concrete, wood, and bricks. If you want to build a car, you need steel, glass, and rubber. If you want to build a mind, though, you need other ingredients.
A strong mind is made up of attitudes and ideas, skills and talents shaped and polished by instruction, discussion, and experiment. In a word, education.
And education is what tonight's show is all about. We'll start from the ground level, from elementary school, and work our way up to the first steps towards a college degree.
But tonight's show isn't all work. We'll take some time out to relax at a secluded resort town called Agia, Pelagia. And we'll turn our spotlight on a woman who works at the base hospital by day and teaches gymnastics to kids by night.
Plus, the month in sports, touch and go, and much more on tonight's Iraklion Magazine. Stay with us.
Forces Television presents top-rated programs guaranteed to make you laugh.
Gratuity for what? Whatever you can spare, sir.
And some to make you cry.
Well, why wouldn't Grant tell them?
But before you see them, AFRTS looks for programs that have achieved stateside popularity and for programs they know you'll enjoy. AFRTS can't show everybody's favorite program every hour, but they sure do try.
A class full of kids from every state in the Union, different educational levels, coming in and going out throughout the school year.
Put that same class in a foreign country, 8,000 miles away from home, and you'll get an idea of the challenges faced by the teachers of the DOD dependent school system.
It's a credit to the teachers that year after year, DODDS students consistently outscore their civilian counterparts in scholastic achievement tests. In the past month, Iraklion welcomed a new school principal, Rex Burgett. According to Mr. Burgett, high scores from Iraklion's kids are no accident.
I think it's a very strong school. I found, my opinion, there's some excellent teachers here. It's a very strong staff, and they're willing to work and provide different kinds of programs at a smaller level, but to meet the needs of the students. We have, I think, one of the better reading programs and the better language arts and math programs that they're using in the United States. And it's designed for kids who are working at different levels. So there's a lot of grouping and different level work so that we can challenge the student and the child at his own level and bring him right along. We're very current in our materials and our programs, so it's very easy for the kids to make adjustments.
To find out how well the kids are adjusting, Greg Holmes talked to some during their favorite subject of the day, recess.
Yeah, that's the sound we all recognize, the school bell. And the kids of Iraklion have been hearing it now for just about a month. But what do the kids think about hearing it? We went to the Jack R. Kearns Elementary School playground to find out.
It's better than being on vacation, because, there's something to do. It's boring.
You mean you had a whole bunch of stuff to do during the summer, and now you get back to school and there's nothing to do, or what?
No, there's nothing to do during the summer. Now there's too much to do.
Tell me, what do you think about the teachers?
Some are nice and some are mean. Well, let's see. It depends. If you're mean if you don't act good in class, then they're going to be mean at you.
Do you act good in class?
Yes. I think it is great because we get out earlier today and we have funner than the one I went in the States.
Did you get a chance to see your girlfriend today?
No, I don't have one today.
You don't have one today?
No. But I'll find one very soon.
Tell me this then, who's the cutest boy in school?
Either.
Who?
None.
There's not one cute boy in school? Do you like being back at school now?
No, I like it.
Why?
Because so you could go on to the next grade.
Well, just a second ago, you told me you were Mr. T.
I am Mr. T.
Who says?
Me. I like being back to school because I get to see my teacher again and my friends, and I get to play tetherball. and go to the next grade.
Are you the tetherball champion?
No.
Well, we've heard a lot of comments, both positive and negative, from the students today. But if we had to give a prize for the best overall, it'd have to go to this youngster, hands down. How do you feel about being back to school?
I think I like it a little bit.
Why?
Because I get to read better and go in higher grades and be smarter.
You like learning then, right?
Yeah.
And on that note, let's go to the next grade, junior high. Here's Steve Hall.
They're bright, idealistic, energetic, and often rebellious. Teenagers are no picnic. Ask any parent. Then ask that parent how they'd like to handle a whole class full.
The most difficult thing about teaching junior high and high school,
Lee Howe teaches art and science.
we're concerned with motivation and teaching children to think. I want them to learn my subject matter. I want them to learn biology. I want to prepare them to go to college, but I'd like to teach them to think. And that's the hardest thing, to have them carry on from what they learn by rote and what they spit back on a test to me, and have them think. You know, what does this mean? Can you carry this a little further? What does it mean to you? That's probably the hardest part.
A teacher's hours are long, and the work often calls upon all their reserves of patience and understanding. But payback, when it comes, is sweet.
Oh, I think that when you actually see dawn striking on a child's face,
Yeah.
when he finally catches on to an idea that this is it, I put this much effort in and I've been rewarded and I understand. I think that's one of the most beautiful things of all to see.
Yeah, seeing the kids' own pride with them in themselves when they're able to succeed at something brings us reward as well.
That's a look at youth education. But what about those of us who've added a few years since those satchel and tetherball days? A military career can call for a demanding educational program. Take, for instance, a commission. Here's Jim Santos.
Aiming high. For some, it's the fascination of flight. For others, it's excelling ahead of the pack.
During these back-to-school days, some of us may be considering the rest of our Air Force career as an officer. A good place to find out more information is the Education Office, the place that opens the door to a possible Air Force commission. So what do you have to do?
Well, the Air Force has a number of ways that you can combine an education with eventual commissioning. Those who have completed most of the education themselves will find the Air Force is absolutely delighted to consider them for direct entry into OTS, but the people who perhaps are nearer to the beginning of things will find commissioning programs that involve from 2 all the way up to 4 years of completely paid for university study. The first one that comes to mind is the ROTC Commissioning Scholarship Program, and if you find yourself interested in pursuing baccalaureate degrees, bachelor's degrees in engineering, physics, science, meteorology, some of the hardcore areas that the Air Force needs its officer people to be trained in, you'll find them willing to consider you for 4-year scholarships. There's an Airman's Education and Commissioning Program, which is rather much like the ROTC, except that it insists that the participants already have a 1.5 years' worth of creditable work towards an engineering program. For the very young people without dependents and particularly good skills, there's still the Air Force Academy. One thinks of the Air Force Academy as something that one does right out of high school instead of going into the Air Force, perhaps. But there are quotas for people wearing uniforms. We've had success stories over the years from virtually every section. One in mind who is assigned to us right now is Lieutenant Amelia, I think she's called Jimmy Emery, who was enlisted 4 or 5 years ago here. She worked in the compound then. She came back with her OTS completed, and she's now, of course, a flight commander.
I've talked to quite a few people since I've been here that have their degrees and want to apply for OTS, and one of the questions they ask is, they seem to be somewhat hesitant, as it's like basic all over again. It's quite a bit like basic, but it's in an entirely different situation, and they have, they treat you more with respect as an individual dealing one-on-one rather than as a group, and also as, you know, the push to get you into the military type of situation. And in fact, everyone is treated, when they're spoken to, is either Mr. or Miss or Mrs. And it's very respectful. That's sort of stands out in my mind. And although at the time it seems very difficult and maybe tiring, your time goes by fast because every minute's filled, and it's fun. And you look back on it, you honestly will look back on it and say, well, that wasn't so bad. It was really a lot of fun.
You could be enjoying an Air Force commission too. A good place to start is by earning college credit. Deb Hall tells us how.
Even if you haven't been to college, college credit is something you may already have. Life experience and technical training can be your first step toward a degree.
For example, the people in the translating field, they will come to us with all of their technical credits completed for a CCAF degree, so that by the time that they walk in here, never having put foot in a college classroom, they will be within 18 hours of getting their diplomas. That's the extreme example. We have the other example of people who come to us who are in a tech school for maybe 4 to 6 weeks. Right. They have very few hours of credit.
The simple fact of the matter is that the best time to start a college education is now, without regard to age. We do have counselor personnel, because everybody who comes in our door is afforded somebody to sit down with, is very interested in their circumstances and problems, and somebody to talk with.
You might want to take advantage of interest and ability tests offered at the Education Center to determine your course of study. Or you can test your knowledge and earn college credit at the same time with a CLEP test, a college-level exam program that gives college credit for whatever you've learned on the job or through research. But you may decide to take your first test in a formal classroom setting under a university professor. Iraklion offers noon, weeknight, and weekend courses. We visited a weeknight business class.
Second and third level supervisors are dealing with people who have raised their expectations. They've climbed out of the area. The book adequately covers the situations and specifics, but I just wanted to give you a little emotion on it.
During the break that night, we asked a few of the students, is it difficult going back to school as an adult?
It's not hard to adjust. In fact, it's kind of exciting. Kind of look forward to doing the studies and, you know, going to school again and doing homework. Sort of like a kid again.
I felt more motivated. I feel like I know what I want now. When I first went to school, I was really just there to be there somewhere, something to do. But now I feel like I'm back and I know what I want. I'm working for the degree I really want.
Education. It sounds like a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, and a lot of personal gain and satisfaction. You might consider it when planning your future.
This is Floyd, a commercial photographer who specializes in, shall we say, the female form. This is his friend Herman. He thinks Floyd has the perfect setup for meeting available women. This is Lou, Pam, and Marty, 3 women that Herman hopes are available. One's a 15-year-old married porn star. One's a mysterious woman from Herman's past, and one has her own photographic ideas. To find out more, join the Iraklion Theater Guild as they present Centerfold, a dinner theater in the Aegean Lounge, October 24th and 25th. Tickets are now on sale at the club office. Don't miss Centerfold, October 24th and 25th at the Aegean Lounge.
I'll tell you, just watching all that self-improvement stuff wears me out. Sometimes you have to get away from everyone. And if you've ever felt that way, this just might be the place you're looking for. They call this area Agia Pelagia. And if you didn't know what you were looking for, you'd probably drive right past it. I found it by accident myself, exploring the hills west of Iraklion. I had turned down a dusty back road, rounded a corner, and wow, there it was. The village of Agia Pelagia is built on the hills surrounding a naturally protected harbor. You can imagine the history this place has. Think of the seafaring men whose ships took refuge in these clear blue waters over the ages. In fact, Agia Pelagia's history goes back as far as we know history. Ruins have been found here dating as early as Minoan times, about 3,000 years before Christ, the era of Knossos. Hellenistic remains from about 700 BC were uncovered here as recently as 1970. But that's not what draws the tourists to Agia Pelagia. It's a beautiful area with the kind of atmosphere that lends itself to relaxation. Of course, there's lots of recreation opportunities available too, and particularly if you like the water. Don't look for the kind of high party life you'll find in Hersonisus, because that's just not what you come here for. No, think of Agia Pelagia as a getaway. Because of its remoteness, not many people from the base know about it. As far as that goes, the tourists generally come here by bus straight from the airport. You're far likelier to be greeted with an Auf Wiedersehen than a how's it going. You can easily spend a weekend here without seeing another American. I guess before we wrap it up, I should tell you how to get here. It's simple. Take the new road due west about 25 miles until you see this sign and turn left. I'm sure you'll find Agia Pelagia the ideal place to relax by yourself or with a friend. Our next story is anything but relaxing as Deborah Hull spotlights a woman who literally bends over backwards for her students.
Kids have boundless energy, and channeling that energy is something Cindy Western does very well. Kids of all ages show up at the base gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights for a solid hour of gymnastics. You may have met Cindy at the base hospital in the Office of Patient Affairs. She serves the Air Force and the Iraklion community as a medical administrative specialist. During the day, she works in limited space, seated at her desk, or sandwiched between rows of files. But come 7 o'clock, she sheds the uniform for leotards, the medical records for floor mats, and filing routines for round-offs and aerials. Cindy has had a passion and flair for gymnastics since her junior high introduction to the sport. Now, she introduces the sport to an eager class of youngsters who are learning the basics: forward rolls, backward rolls, and cartwheels. Cindy explains to her students that a good workout is 90% concentration and only about 10% physical ability. If you falter mentally, your body will stumble. No one seems to ever tire in Cindy's class, maybe because they all want to be as graceful and accomplished as their teacher.
I think anybody can do it. My brother has no flexibility in his back whatsoever, and he can still do almost the same moves I can. I was going to be the best. You have to have that drive and determination. If you don't have it, you're not going to make it.
Gymnastics is just one of many sports offered at Iraklion. Gino Plyler has a sports wrap-up of youth and adult action.
When we last left our athletes of Iraklion, the softball season was winding down, as were the T-ball league and the Little League season. All that was left was to play the championship games, and in all 3 title matches this year, the favored team was beaten twice in the same day. In the Intramural Softball Championship matchup, Abel gave Group SPS all they could stand before losing twice in extra innings, 14-6 and 11-10. The first game came to a close on an 8-run rally in the 8th inning by Group SPS. And then the men in blue won the championship in Game 2, 11-10, as Denny Kuntz scored the game winner for the new base champions. Meanwhile, on the Little League field, the Orioles also had to win too, and the Birds came through. Behind the outstanding play of Candy Smittle, the Orioles won the first game 11-10 over the Expos, and then took the championship by 6 runs, 12-6. A big win for Coach Ernie Moyer and the team that never quit. And that brings us to the A team of head coach Charlie Kemplin. Once again, the championship team had to work hard for the title. The Padres had the advantage, but the A team would not give in. They won the first game by 10 runs, 16-6, but were taken to the limit in game number 2. Trailing 10-6 in their last at-bat, the team in red scored 7 runs to win the championship 2-0. The youth football season kicked off this month with 2 age divisions, and from the opening day action, it looks like the parents will have a lot to scream about in the upcoming weeks. The first game of '84 had the Redskins holding off the Giants 12-2, and the Raiders edging the Chargers in a close one, 42-35. With football in full swing now, the summer is only a memory. The Mount Edrie Run, all the softball action of the MSC, USAFE, and the base competition, the BMX bicycle race, so much went on this summer. And tonight, Iraklion Magazine takes a final look back at the sports summer of '84 and the athletes who made it so special. Up next on Iraklion Magazine is Touch and Go with Deb and Loopy.
For some kids, back to school means leaving Iraklion for Torrejon High School. Saying goodbye even for one semester is difficult for students and parents. The base said farewell with a cake and punch send-off, and well wishes from Colonel and Mrs. Bill Spacey and Dr. Harry Howitt.
The kids who stayed behind got busy right away with campaigns for the Junior High Student Council. Each candidate tried to win votes with a convincing speech of dedication and ability. When the ballots were tallied, envelope, please. And the winners are Joseph Buter as treasurer, Alicia Soto as secretary, Anjane War as vice president, and Tanya Gibbs as president.
And speaking of recognition, there's a special memorial next to the headquarters building, honoring a man who served Iraklion Air Station for 18 years. Base Liaison Officer Jimmy Nicholaides was known for his warmth and his endless energy for helping people. On August 24th, a lasting tribute to that spirit was unveiled.
Whether you were a two-striper with a problem with a landlord downtown, or you got a bad deal at one of the local stores, or whether you were the colonel out trying to meet a new general and show him the ropes around the base, Jimmy was always there, always said just the right thing, always knew exactly what to do, and saved myself several times as in different things where he told me what to do. He says, "Colonel, you're here, do this."
Every summer month brings a different celebration to the base beach. A sun-filled day in August was perfect for a cookout and a tantalizing variety show presented by Queens, a DOD traveling group. The grills and the entertainment sizzled with a variety menu. 7 women danced and sang to country licks, pulsing rock, and pop ballads. And if you think they're stunning, you're part of a majority. Many of the women were recruited from beauty pageants, including Miss Missouri.
A few days later, the beach became a classroom for water safety instruction. The base fire department sponsored the class, teaching rescue techniques, including grips and leg movements. Further up the beach at the steakhouse, a group of airmen were commended for their graduation of the NCO preparatory course, a course that includes written examinations and personal inspections. Congratulations, Class 6.
And finally, on Iraklion Magazine, there's a new look at the base dining hall. Look a little closer at the fresh salads, vegetables, and sumptuous meats, and you'll see a difference. It's not in the seasonings or the dish, but the price. Instead of a flat meal rate, patrons pay for each entree. So drop in for a cup of coffee, diet on salad and fresh fruit, or celebrate with pie and ice cream. You'll only pay for what you select.
And that rounds out our selection tonight. Thanks for watching us watch you on the picture pages of Iraklion Magazine. Good night.